There we go. All right, sorry. So both Melissa and I have been working with public libraries while at Unique for over 24 years each. So we definitely have a lot of experience, and happy and proud to continue our company's rich history of providing great services to libraries everywhere. So Melissa, remind me, were you nine years old or 10 years old when you started?
Obviously, only 9, so that
Okay.
we're still just young.
We're still just young. Yep, long way to go. But we've had a great time, and enjoy sharing the MessageBee service. We created this with the goal of helping libraries communicate better and more effectively, and in a manner that best reflects and represents all the wonderful values and resources that libraries offer to their communities. So the MessageBee system, for those of you who are not familiar, handles a really wide array of different communication options and can provide those communications across a variety of different channels. So we're talking about email, text or SMS, and automated voice. When we started this journey, helping improve circulation notices, that's really where we got our start. And we've been really successful at that. We built the product from the ground up specifically for libraries of all sizes, with the flexibility to work seamlessly with individual libraries and really complex consortiums. And we have a really wide range of different types of customers, from standalone libraries that circulate under 100,000 items a year, all the way to consortiums with 100+ members, and libraries that circulate tens of millions of items a year. Over 600 libraries are now using the MessageBee platform in some manner to communicate with their patrons or their broader community. So yeah, Melissa, thanks for joining me today. You and I have been working together for like a really long time. And it's been really fun the past couple of years creating and building this new system and working with libraries to see how they are using it to more easily communicate with their communities and their patrons. So you're the point person for Unique very frequently and working with libraries. What are the biggest things that you hear from libraries about how MessageBee helps their processes for communicating?
Yeah, Rob, thanks for the invite. You know how I love doing webinars. You know, clients are continually, looking for the best way to engage their customers, and in this day and age, that's truly a challenge, isn't it? So, that's what I have been hearing from folks. How can we make this easier? And one thing that I hear with regard to the MessageBee portal is just how convenient it is that all of the different content types are within one portal. So, you touched on the fact that we have the circulation notices in here, but that we also have content for email, for SMS, for telephone and voice notification. And instead of having to pop into multiple different portals, you've got one-stop shopping with this. In addition, we just have some great reporting tools that just have not been available with some other utilities, and that's been a standout. I think what they're going to find when they see this new editor is just the ease with which they can now create new messages. We had an editor in place, but I think this really takes it up to the next level, and will just make developing and creating new content easy. It was already very easy to schedule, will continue to be easy on that front. And then lastly, let's not forget what we hear is just that everyone really appreciates our personalized customer service. When an issue arises, everyone knows that Unique is here, our customer service reps are here, our tech reps are here to address that concern and get a resolution to that issue as quickly as possible. So, we could just continue in that vein.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that, the transparency, the ability to know what's happening with communications is something I hear from libraries and technical administrators of library systems that really matters. And then that service as well. So this year, there's been a lot of delivery kind of issues that libraries have faced with either their text messages or their emails, with the changing kind of landscape of carriers and email providers. And that's a big part of what Unique really does bring, is that service to make sure that your patrons are getting their communication. So yeah, so one trivia question for our attendees here today. So if Melissa and I have been working for Unique for 24 years, who out there knows how old is Unique? So if you can drop that in the chat, the first person to get that answer right, send you a gift card for that amount. So a little trivia about Unique, and Unique management employees not eligible for any winnings here. But yeah, so if you happen to know how long Unique has been around, and if you've been reading our newsletters, you probably know that. Drop that in there. So, but the MessageBee system incorporates a lot of different communication tools and options. Today, we're just focusing on sharing with you a totally new version of our marketing outreach email system, and a few other smaller features that we've added to the system for user management. So I know we have a number of existing MessageBee customers who have been using our current tools for several years on this call. And for you, I think this will represent really a significant improvement in the user experience as it relates to that marketing communication. And for those of you who have not yet used those tools in MessageBee, I hope you see the ease and the power of what the system can offer, how it may help your organization better communicate with your patrons and community. And we have a great special offer if you're not already using MessageBee that I hope you'll consider taking us up on, to see if MessageBee will be a fit for your library, and we'll share that at the end. So yeah, so with that, I'm going to share my screen for MessageBee and start showing you some of the newest things. So the first thing we are going to show you is the thing we've been working on the hardest, and that is our new email content creator and editor tool. When we first launched MessageBee, we incorporated an embedded editor that was functional and got the job done. It offered the ability to create great looking emails, but it did have some limitations, and ultimately just did not offer the level of customization and ability to incorporate integrations that we had always hoped to provide when we first dreamed this up 6 years ago. So with our new editor, much of that functionality has been created and coded by our own team, which allows a lot more options both now and in the future. So jumping into the system, starting out in our marketing module, so this option here in the menu, we have both campaigns and audience. Audience is where we'll manage our recipients, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But campaigns is where we create and organize the content we want to create and send. So clicking on that, we can see a few different options here on the left. We'll start real quick with templates. This is where we essentially have our master copies of communications. They can be the starting point for many of the daily, weekly, or monthly communications we'll create. So for instance, you might have your generic newsletter, which has your branding, your look and feel, and the structure that you would use to create, for example, the June newsletter. So just starting points, really, and you can have as many templates as you like, or none at all. You'll see that there are multiple options for creating your communications when you're ready to do that. And the editor that you would see in the template screen is exactly the same as what you'll get when you're creating actual communications. So campaigns, the screen is where we're going to spend most of our time in the system if we're utilizing the marketing tools. And campaigns are just logical groupings of messages that we're going to send out. So partly it's just to help you organize and find the content that you're working on. But more importantly, it's used to help in terms of reporting over time. So at this campaign level, as you send out messages over weeks and months, you'll be able to see direct reporting about the volume, delivery, and engagement for all the messages in the campaign you're focused on. So campaigns do have a couple other additional aspects. One, you can change the name and email address that is used when sending your communications out. So clicking on this action menu here on the right allows you to access the sender details. So we're in our demo library, the Milne Public Library, and the default for this account is the Milne Public Library at Pooh Corner. That's what the name is that a recipient would see. And the email address by default would be info@milnepubliclibrary.org. And so we can override that with whatever we want here, and that lives and persists at the campaign level. So maybe your newsletters have one email address, maybe your service announcements have another. If you're using MessageBee for your circulation notices, something else entirely as well. So the ability to set that The other thing is that these campaign names will be what can appear on an unsubscribe or a manage preferences screen that your recipients might end up at if they want to adjust what communications they get. So they'd have the ability to opt in and out of each of your individual campaigns. So that's kind of the important bit for that. Once we click on a campaign, right here, we'll see all of the communications that we've already created within. And from there, we can choose to send or edit, which is the fun part. And for that, Melissa is going to take over, walk you through both just the creation and editing of new communication. So Melissa, I'm going to stop my screen share and let you take over for a minute.
All right, Rob, and we have reports here that the chat has been disabled. If you can take a look at that. I'm getting ready to share my screen.
I will enable the chat.
Fantastic. All right. So now it's time to take a peek at our new editor. We're at the campaign screen, and we either have the option of creating a new campaign or building a communication within an existing campaign. You can create as many campaigns as you would like. You can see in our test environment here, we actually have quite a few of them. Very easy to create a new campaign. You simply click on the Create a New Campaign button and give that campaign a name of your liking. One thing to note is if patrons are opting out of any type of communication, they will be able to see campaign names. So we suggest keeping these names, as clear and concise as possible. And I'm sure you guys are great about doing that. For today's purpose, we're going to work on building a new communication within an existing campaign. So how do we do that? First, we want to choose the campaign. So for today, we're going to use this practice campaign. To create a new communication, you're going to click on this option menu and you're going to select New. Now you can see we are presented with a variety of options here. One, we can start from scratch or an empty template. One thing to note is that our empty template does have some generic blocks already built in. You can use those, or those are easily removed. And then we have a few template options for you. So you can build off of a base template. So Rob just mentioned that you may create just some general base templates that you find you use frequently. So you can view those here. You simply scroll through the carousel, and if you find one that you want to use, you hit select and it will build off of that particular template. If we scroll down here, you can see that you can build a template off of a previous communication. Perhaps you love the format of your last newsletter or maybe your last service announcement, and you simply want to build off of that. You absolutely can do so. You can select that by just simply scrolling through the carousel again. Alternately, if you know that the template that you want to use lives in a very specific campaign, you can select that campaign and then just select the communication from there. Very straightforward. Lastly, we are building out the global templates. We often hear clients ask what others are doing, and with consent, those will be shared here. So you can just see some samples that we've built in for the webinar here. Today, we're going to build off of this holiday closure, July 2024. So real easy to do that. Like I mentioned, you simply click select. It's going to prompt you for a communication name. So we'll give this the name of webinar test. Hit create. And voila, we're in the new editor. Now, for those of you, as Rob mentioned, I know there's a lot of folks on this call who are currently using MessageBee. If you're using it for marketing purposes, I'm sure this looks a lot different to you than our current editor does. So let's first go over the layout for you. Up here, we have the subject line. So we can give this an easy subject line of test build. If we wanted, we could add in some emojis. You can do anything you want in here. On the left-hand side, we have the elements. So these are going to be your blocks and your layouts. In the center here, we're going to have the content you're building or the body. And I'd like to point out that you can view both the desktop and the mobile view, which is always a nice feature. And then to the right-hand side, you'll find the styles and attributes for editing the contents in the blocks that you're working on. All of these blocks are very easy to incorporate. They're drag and drop, which is something I'm sure most of you are very familiar with. Our standard content blocks here are just that. So these are blocks that we know are used with great frequency, text, image, buttons, socials, etc. As we scroll down on the left-hand side, you'll see the custom content section. And this will allow you to build out and save a custom block. So say you have a standard footer that you want to use that contains maybe your name, your socials, your unsubscribed details. You can build that out here, save that, and then for any communications that you're building, you can simply drag and drop that into that communication. And then the layout blocks allow you to customize just various column configurations. As you can see, we offer 1 to 5 columns, and for anything more than 1 column, you get various layout options. So, half and half, if you just want a smaller image and some larger text, etc. Very easy to incorporate there. Now, for this particular communication, you can see that we've incorporated a number of blocks. And adding and removing all of these blocks is quite simple. Drag and drop. We can delete some, and I'll show you how to do that here in a second. First, I want to touch on the image block here. So you can see in this example, we've got the Milne Public Library logo. If that was not incorporated there, it would be, when you first drag it over, it's a blank image block. So you need to add something to this particular image. There are 2 options for doing so. Well, I guess a third if you wanted to just copy and paste a link, but most are going to use images in one of 2 ways. One, we have our media library. Very easy to access. You simply click on the media library, and this will contain any images that you have uploaded for your library. As you can see here, we have a variety of images already uploaded. If you need to upload a new image, simply click on Upload Media. You pick the file, you give it a name, a description, throw in some alternate text, and we have a new feature in our media library called tags. So this will allow you a way of grouping or sorting images. So in this instance, you can see we have a number of images, but I'm not seeing the library logo. But I know that I've added that into this library and that I gave it a tag of logo. So we can come over here to Filter by Tag and simply look at the various tags that have been added. Select logo, and it will find the logo for us. So just a great way of organizing your images. We didn't really have that in our previous editor, and I think this is a feature that's really going to be a standout for folks. To add that, simply click Select, and your image has now been added to the image block. Another new feature that we have in this editor is a stock image option. So, you're building out a communication, maybe you don't have the graphics that you're looking for, it's just something you're trying to put together real quick, and you want to throw something in. Click on stock image, and you simply type into the search section what you're looking for. So I don't know, maybe we're doing a program for dogs at the library. You can simply type in dog book, hit enter, and here we have our various options. All very cute. If you're not doing dogs at the library, I think now you should do so, because this would definitely be a hit, I think. Select your image, and now it's added that image into the image block. Now, for both media library and stock images, once you've added that image in, you can come over here to the right-hand side to the attributes, and you can see we have a variety of settings. So if you want to link that to your website, to a specific program registration, etc., you just add the link in there. You can alter the alt text. And then we have things like dimension, borders, and with the block, if you need to change the background color, that's very easy to do. So very easy to use the image selection there. Next, we're going to look at the nav bar selection here. So this is a navigation bar or a menu bar. Very easy to drag and drop if you need to add another one in. As you can see, that just took 2 seconds to do that. You hit the trash can to delete that. What we have here are just the default I guess menu options for this. Very easy to change. These may work for you. It might not work for what you're wanting to do. If you need to change any of these options, you simply navigate over to the attributes section and type in what you're looking for. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, so we'll just type in homepage, and you can see it automatically updates that text. Maybe you want to link that to a certain page on your website. Simply copy and paste that link here, and that has been taken care of. If you need to add an additional option, simply click the copy option. It will duplicate the most recent default. You simply type over the text, and you have added another option. You can simply click on the trash icon to delete that. And if you need to reorder any of these, you simply click on this and drag that up. There you go. And then again, you've got your dimensions, your text options, and your block options. With regard to a text box, again, very easy to drag and drop and add a new text box. It comes with your standard lorem ipsum language there. You simply type in the details that you would like to see. When you're in a text box, you do get this hover toolbar. And this toolbar will allow you to basically manipulate or edit this text. So you can change the font, you can change the font size, you can give it different characteristics, bold, italicize, etc. You have the option of changing the font color, of changing the background color for this particular block. You've got some alignment options. If you need to link some text, as you can see down here, very easy to do. Highlight that text, click on link, and then provide the link in there. So we'll just add in uniquelibrary.com, apply, and there's our link. Very easy. You've got a couple options for numbered lists or bulleted lists, and you do have some emoji options here as well. This last option here is a merge tag. So if you were wanting to incorporate, patron name, some other detail from the file or the list that you're using to send this, you can use this feature to do so. The next section down here, you can see we have used the 2-column layout. As I mentioned before, this is also just drag and drop. I keep saying it, very easy to use. So you simply grab what you're wanting to incorporate, throw that in, drop it. And now we need to select the content for each of these boxes. So we'll throw a button in here, and we'll throw some text in here. And then you simply edit those options as you see fit. So with regard to the button, as with everything, you drag the content from the left, put it in the body, and you have your attributes and your editing options to the right. So just remember, left, middle, right. Works very easily. Again, we have the option to incorporate a media library or a stock image. Over here in the text, you can see we have utilized the bulleted list in addition to linking some areas. So very, very straightforward and very user-friendly. Down here, we've used our social block. These are our standard default socials that will pop over when we add in a new social block. So as you can see, we've got, Facebook, Insta, YouTube, and Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it these days. And once you select that block, you have the option to customize all of these. So maybe you don't use YouTube, maybe you use TikTok instead. Simply put in the TikTok icon and link that to your TikTok account. As with the nav bar and menu options, to add another option, you simply use the copy feature right there. To delete, you simply use the trash can. And then to rearrange the order, you simply click on that icon and move it to wherever in that feature you need to go. You've got your attributes here as well. So you've got your dimensions, typography blocks. So you've got that with most of the blocks that you'll be working through here. The last feature down here I wanted to point out is the kind of the unsubscribe or manage preferences section. So with any emails that are going out anymore, obviously you're incorporating a way for folks to opt out or unsubscribe from the content. So it's very easy to do. You simply type in the wording that you want to use here. So we've typed in unsubscribe or manage preferences. You then select link, and at this point in time, you can either put in an address for your own subscription management tool if you're using that, or you can utilize, the MessageBee tool. Simply click on this right here and select unsubscribe link preferences, and any of those unsubscribe preferences will be tracked within the MessageBee utility. So very easy and straightforward. If you select the entire body, so you can see here we're in just an image block or a content block. We've now selected the entire communication, so the body. We then have the attributes over to the right for the entire communication. So we can change the entire template background if we want. We can change the content background. You've got different margin options. You can incorporate a pre-header, which I know a lot of folks do for most of their email sends. And then you have things like, texts and headings. You can alter the layout and look of all the buttons. Maybe we want to change the link color from blue to a really standout pink. You can do that there. With any of our color options, you're going to have some that are pre-selected here. We also offer a picker. So you can simply use that picker to select a color that's within the body of your content. You can also type in your very specific color. A lot of you obviously have fantastic branding guidelines and very specific color options. Those can be typed in to any of the color picker boxes. We do offer the ability to upload web fonts. One thing to consider with web fonts, not all web fonts are user-friendly on all email clients. So do keep that in mind as you're taking a look at that. I'm going to change our links back to blue. All right, so couple things. You can take a look, as I mentioned, you can see the desktop view and the mobile view of your communication. But once you're done creating something and you feel like you're at that point where you're done, you're almost ready to send, I would suggest always taking a look at the email preview. And that is this eye icon over here. So if we click on email preview, you can see a little bit of everything on this email. So we can see the subject and how that's going to appear. And we can then see how this will appear in both mobile and in desktop mode. I just think this is a great utility, and I find I use it mostly to see how things are rendering on a mobile device, knowing that so many people are consuming this content on a mobile device. If you find that something looks a bit amiss, maybe from the mobile view, you do have the option over in the attributes section here of editing either specifically desktop or mobile. And this will allow you to change some of the settings, in this instance, we'll say for the mobile view without impacting the view for the desktop option. And that's, I think, a great tool that enhances the editor experience here. All right, so we've created our communication. We're happy with it. That dog image will be a hit across the board for everyone. Now it's time. Oh, before we send, one other thing. You've hit this point, you think to yourself, okay, this is okay, but I think I want to start fresh. I think I want to start anew. I don't love everything I've done. You can get rid of the entire campus by clicking on this trash can. Now, do know that when you click on this trash can, it will immediately clear the campus. You're probably thinking to yourself, oh no, what did Melissa just do? But never fear. There is an option in this menu, or options menu right here. You can look at various versions. So anytime you have saved your communication, it is collecting a version. So if I realize I have deleted my content in error and I want to go back to the most recent version, I simply select that version and it's back in action. We're ready to go. So we're going to save that one more time. So now we are ready. And now we're ready to send out the communication. How do we do that? There are two different ways. One, you can see the send communication button from this exact communication. Click that and you're going to be taken to the communication schedule option. The alternate option is to go to the campaign page, find your communication, and click on send. Now from here, it's pretty straightforward. It really just walks you through the sending process. So you need to give it a date. So today is the 18th. We're going to schedule a send time. Let's schedule this out for 4:30 p.m. We're going to select a frequency. This particular communication does not have a frequency. You may have something you're creating that needs to go out daily, weekly, monthly. This is where you would schedule that. We also have a preview, and this is a really nice feature. You simply click on this to expand, and it allows you to see the communication that you are getting ready to schedule. So if you guys are like me, whenever I am scheduling a blast to go out to a large group of people, I'm always very concerned that I am selecting the right communication. This is just that confirmation that you have selected the right communication, and that's what's going to go out to your selected recipients. So once you've selected date and time and selected your frequency, click next, and that's going to take you to the dynamic list section and prompt you to select something here. Now you may not have anything to select here, and that's fine. Dynamic lists would be recipients based upon queries running against the ILS or another database. So if you don't have anything here, you simply click next and you're taken to the audience list. You will have to select something here if you haven't chosen a dynamic list. And this is going to be more of your standard kind of list of recipients, segmented lists for maybe programs, different types of newsletters, perhaps an upload of patrons who've just registered for a very specific event. So very easy to select. You simply just check that box, click next, and we're at the confirmation page. So this is going to confirm the date and time that this is scheduled for. So today at 4:30, the audience list that we have chosen, events for adults, and the sender info, which Rob touched on previously. That's just the email that this will be sending from. Again, we can take one last look to make sure that this is the communication we want to send out. And then you simply click schedule, and you can see our communication has been scheduled. Now, Rob, I've just scheduled this and I realized that I selected the wrong audience list. Is there a way to cancel that scheduled send?
So that is definitely something that you can do, Melissa, for sure. So from our campaign screen, we've got the scheduled option. And when we click on that, at the very top, we'll see the things that we've sent the most recently or set the most recent or we have scheduled. So we can see your webinar test that you've just done. It's scheduled for 4:30. All we have to do is click delete, give us a confirmation, and then cancel.
Can't see your screen right now.
Oh no. But now, is that working?
There it is, yep.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, I've already canceled that send. So
Here, let me schedule something real fast.
All right, while you're doing that, just a shout out, our correct answer winner for how old is unique management is Jason Tenter from Sills. 30 years old was correct, and he buzzed in the fastest with that. So 30 years last month, and we're very proud of that. We've worked with thousands of libraries, and look forward to working with a lot more over the next few years. So good job, Jason. We'll get in touch about that gift card. So while Melissa's doing that, we should be good. Okay, so if I refresh the screen, there we go. Here is the things that have been scheduled most recently. We can see this one has not gone out yet because it's not yet 4:30 local time. All we've got to do is click delete, and it won't go out. So disaster averted, we can go back and reschedule our communication. So, but I hope you can see why we've been excited to share this with you. For me, over the past month or so, part of what we've been doing is recreating templates from our customers who use our legacy tools so that they can use it in the new system. And to be honest, creating emails in this tool is just kind of fun. I know it sounds cheesy, but hey, give it a shot. See if you like it. It's easy. You can do a lot of different things with it. So what Melissa just showed you is really just the start of what we're going to be able to do in terms of making it easy and fun to create these emails. Building out this editor on our own terms with our development team was really the foundation of what was needed. And over the next few weeks, we'll be continuing to add new features and functionality to this editor that I know you'll love. So that's going to include the ability for you to save your own content blocks that you can reuse. And crucially, if you update your custom content blocks, you'll have the option to have the system update all of your existing templates within which that custom block lives. So maybe you want to change your Twitter icon from the old bird to the X. And so, doing that, so currently you might have to do that in multiple templates. Instead, if you've got your custom footer saved, you'll just do that in one and have the option, and all of your future emails will reflect that change. So additionally, we'll be adding the ability for you to share and utilize shared resources. So that's for both email templates and images in your media library. So for images, when you're uploading media, you'll have the option to share your image globally with everybody at MessageBee. Or if you are a member of a consortium, you'll be able to have the option to share with your consortium. So, and then when you're creating the content, you'll have the ability to change your scope away from just your own library's media library and incorporate either your consortiums or the global MessageBee scope. So, and similarly with templates, we've started this global template library, and we'll be adding to that from MessageBee customers who are open to sharing. And we think that idea of sharing resources and ideas across libraries is exciting and just very much in the spirit of the library community. So, and the editor will also begin incorporating new fun widgets, such as easy QR code embeds, video embeds. Somebody wrote in and was wondering about text over images. That is also coming as well. And then longer term is really where the kind of the really fun stuff, where we're able to build widgets that step you through integrations with things like event tools that your library might already use. So you can easily pull in some event information that just gets updated automatically in your templates. And also custom collections from discovery and cataloging tools. So all again with the idea of really making it easy for you to generate awesome content to share with your community. So, but from here, I'm just going to briefly touch on the recipient management tools that we offer, so you can get a sense of the broad options that are available. So MessageBee has two different base concepts in how to manage your recipients. One is audience lists, which are recipient lists that you upload from maybe an existing newsletter list that you have, or for new subscribers to things like newsletters through widgets that are embeddable on your website and provided by MessageBee. Or maybe even just other uploads of email addresses that you might collect at events that your library offers. And then the second recipient management tool we call dynamic lists. And that is a list of recipients and some associated data elements that come from a data feed, typically the ILS, and is updated automatically on a daily basis. So jumping into the audience option from the marketing tab at the top, we can see our audience lists. And we can see how many records are on each one. You can have as many as you want. You can create new ones very easily. You can jump in and view the records, manually edit and remove, manually add if you'd like. You can upload new records to it very easily. Just drag and drop a text file in here like a CSV, and it sucks it right in. You can have as many lists as I mentioned, so maybe you'll have a main newsletter. The other concept that we offer here is what we call an interest list. So we can toggle that on and off by clicking on our action menu here, interest settings. We can see this is currently an interest list, whereas the main newsletter is not going to be an interest list. And really how that manifests itself is on the widgets that you can embed on your site. So I'm going to show you an example from our demo library, our newsletter page. Clicking on that, we can see this is a widget. And for each of the interests that I've toggled on, there's a configuration that allows me for each of my widgets to allow those to show. So for each of these that the recipient or the patron selects and then enters their information, they're going to show up in each of those lists. So it's a way for people to really kind of self-select into relevant content that you might be sending out. This is all kind of configurable and up to you how you want to do that. But it really helps to be able to offer that ability to really self-segment, I guess you could say. So the other recipient management tool is what we call dynamic lists. And it offers your library a really powerful tool to leverage contact information in your ILS or really any other data source, and then segment that data to allow you to, again, send that relevant communication to a very specific audience. So for the moment, our dynamic list tool is still in our legacy site. Within the next couple of weeks, this will migrate and be an option here in the new site. But for the moment, I'm just going to show you real quick how this works. So you can have as many lists, again, as you want. The example here that's kind of the easiest is maybe if you wanted to have a new patron welcome journey. So you might have several different lists, a new today, a 21-day new, and a 42-day new. Jumping in to edit this list, you're really editing the definition of the list. And as it stands, we can choose from these different data elements that are pulled in. And it's important to note, some of these data elements are very ILS specific, and they can be customized. So we can try to bring in additional things or leave out things if you want. We have patron home library, and then we get a box that shows us all of the different potential branches that we want to select. And then we've got patron registration date, and then the kind of comparison. And then either you can put in a specific date, or for this, we would use a relative date. So for a demo, I've got it from now until 2,000 days in the past because the demo data is very static, but we could set it to 21 days very easily, just simply by setting 21 days. When I click update preview count, it's going to show me how many people are in that list at that moment. So if I remove the Northview branch, save my filter, I'm down to 25 records. And I can download a preview of that so I can kind of verify what it is I'm looking at. So these lists will change every day, partly because things like the days are changing, partly because you're adding new data from the ILS continually. So from there, I really hope you can see how easy it is to create really specific lists for a wide range of different applications. Going back into our into our kind of sending journey over here. When we're sending a newsletter, we click send. We're picking a date and a time, but we also have a recurrence frequency. So in that concept of the 21-day content that we want, or the 21-day list, we might have a 21-day piece of content that's really focusing on one thing that you want to introduce a patron to. And we want to send that every single day. So when I schedule this, the first time it's going to go on the 18th, and maybe I'll again set it out. So at 5 o'clock. And now I'm going to come in here and select my dynamic list of 21 day new. And I'm not going to select an audience list. So every day, the recipients or the patrons that are on that specific list are going to get this specific piece of content. And when we schedule that, it's ready to go. Now you're kind of done. The ILS is updating the data in the background. MessageBee is going to be ready to send this out every day at 5 p.m. And again, we could cancel that out very easily.
Now,
So,
Rob, folks can select
yep.
a combination of both a dynamic list and an audience list, correct?
Yes, that's definitely true. And we can also incorporate in that dynamic list definition the presence of a patron or an email address in those audience lists. So, you know, are these people that are in my home library of Central and Eastwood registered in the past 2,000 days present in my newsletter list? The filter, and oh, no, none of them are, but you can incorporate that combination between audience and dynamic, and you can also send to both dynamic and audience at the same time. If a recipient has their email address in multiple lists, the system just automatically going to deduplicate it, so you're not sending multiple copies of the same communication to people. So once you've got that scheduled, it's just happening every day, totally automated. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to maybe tune in and see what the, what the statistics are. So from the scheduled tab, we can see the specific sends that we've already done. And we can click this button to immediately just jump into a report that tells us the outcome of what happened there with that specific send of my newsletter. So on June 11th, we sent 61, all 61 failed, which is obviously horrible. In the real world, we can click here and see maybe why that happened. In this case, it's because all of these email addresses are literally fake. So we see the reason, it's literally a fake email address. So, but you'd be able to see that very easily and just make sure that everything is going well with your communication. As I mentioned earlier, that campaign, being able to see these kinds of statistics over time. So it's well and good to see what we did, maybe yesterday, just to make sure that went out and was good. But we want to see what's our newsletter been doing over the past 3 or 4 months or the past year. So we can adjust the filters for this. Partly right now we're scoped to that specific April newsletter, but I can choose that to be all, and I'm on my campaign of newsletter. If I hit update, okay, I've only sent it once in the past 1 day, which makes sense. I can enter the calendar picker and maybe go back a few months and grab this. And here we go. And we can see what's happening over time. We're seeing the number of sent, delivered, failed, opt-outs, opens, clicks. When we click on engagement, we can see details about what is being engaged on these communications. So the last thing I wanted to share with you today was just some of the new user management tools. So users have been asking for this for a while, and I know it sounds pretty basic, but given how we developed MessageBee for use with both standalone and large consortiums, there was a number of complexities that we really had to solve for. So I know these additions will really make both library users very happy, but also my support team, who are kind of responsible for creating all of the user accounts and that kind of thing. So a few things. Once your account is configured, you will have an admin tab up here for certain accounts, which are essentially elevated as administrative accounts for your library. Be able to select users and then be able to see all of the users on your account. The ones that are in orange are the admins for this account. And you can come in and manage roles, so change these very easily. Or we can remove this one. I'm no longer there, so yep, let's get rid of that guy. I can easily add a new user, again, giving them different permissions. When you send that, you'll see the pending invites. So if you send it to somebody and they say, I can't log in, you can see if what's going on with their invite. And for organizations like consortiums, the same kind of principle applies, but that gives, if you are a kind of an administrator of a consortium, you have the ability to then access the other libraries within that group and create users for that group. So that's done, really kind of handy, and it makes life easier for everybody else. A couple of other real quick things. Clicking on your user account icon up here in the top right, your avatar, now click Manage Account. You can now add a phone number to your account and then add multi-factor authentication. And so you can do that on an individual user by user basis, just to more secure your account in a better way. What we'll be able to do when we're done migrating everybody and all of the functions from our legacy site onto this site is allow administrators to mandate that for users on their account. Yeah, so just real quick, I mentioned earlier that we'd have a kind of a special offer for folks on our that interested in taking advantage of our marketing tools. So it's a 30-day free trial. We'll create your account if you don't already have one and you're not using MessageBee for notifications. It'll come with the ability to create and edit templates, utilize the audience list recipient management tools, and be able to send out emails to those audience lists. So really the one thing that's not there is that dynamic list. So once you do decide that this is a great tool and you're ready to move forward, we can configure it and enable that dynamic list if that's something that you're interested in using. So that's what's there. The email
Rob,
that comes from this. Yeah, sorry.
I realized that I did not touch on one thing that I think a lot of folks would like to see, and that is just how to send a test email. Like if you want to send a test to yourself or to someone else, to a group within the library. Would you show them how to do that real quick?
Certainly. So back in your template editing, our campaign editor, we're here. We've got an option menu here. Melissa showed you the versions that you can get to. Just send test, and it's as easy as doing this, and off it goes. You'll get that within a few seconds, and be able to validate that it looks like what you wanted it to look like in your Gmail or in your Outlook, whichever. One of the things, just to, Melissa did show versions and the ability to kind of step back to a different version. But if you did delete everything and you hadn't saved, you can also just hit Control-Z and step back in time as well to undo things. So one of the things that I guess I would pass along, especially to our existing customers, is when using this editor, one of the main key concepts is to use these layout blocks. So you always want to start with one of these, and that's what an empty template is going to give you. You've got a single column layout. And really, anytime you are kind of moving from one area or like group of content, always just grab another layout block and drag it in. They can butt up against each other, but that just makes it really easy. You can move entire blocks of content that way. And then you're obviously switching back and forth from your different column sizes as well. So even if you're going to have one column all the way down, always just kind of grab a new layout block every time you're looking to do that. As you'll see that here, you get the different sections. It allows you to move it very easily or delete the entire thing. So, yeah, I think we probably have a few questions, so I will take a peek here. So one of the questions was, is there a click list or map for links in each email? So essentially, once you've sent an email, you can get essentially a report for that send for that email to see how many people clicked on individual links. So I think that is what is being asked for there. And then there was a question from an existing customer about the administration function. And yes, we are, there has been an email that's gone out to most users requesting if you let us know which user you'd like to start as the customer admin. We'll enable that, and we can have a brief call to make sure that everything is good with that and everybody knows how to use it. So yeah, definitely, if you don't see that email, feel free to write in to your account admin, and we'll get that taken care of. All right. So I had a few other questions just about text messaging, and most ILS we absolutely can use MessageBee for text messaging for ILS notices. So a few caveats out there, but I have your library name, and we can follow up and make sure that that works. But definitely a lot that's going on out there in the world in terms of delivery. MessageBee does send text messages, native text messages, as opposed to what many ILS do, which is to utilize an email gateway through a carrier. So we kind of remove that. You'll be able to see, you'll get much higher delivery rates. You'll also know when it's being delivered. And if something does happen, like T-Mobile decides they don't like your hold notice for one reason or another tomorrow, Unique steps in and can intervene with carriers to make sure that that gets addressed and taken care of. So at the moment, there was a question about the different channels, and is it possible to create a campaign and use it for a print notice for patrons needing a printed notice? Not at this time. What we can do is we do have the ability to set it up for like failed voice notifications to roll over to print, but it's not totally embedded in MessageBee.
Rob, there was a question about PDF output as well.
Oh, yep, absolutely. That'll be coming within the next few days as well. That's been a popular one. You'll have the ability from, wrong button, but you'll have the ability from the action menu over here to create and save a PDF version of the content that you've got. So I had a question about 5 columns. Is it possible to show more than a single data field in a column, such as title and author? Yes, absolutely. Excuse me. So right here, you've got a 2-column layout section, and we've got an image here. We should then be able to add the text right below it. So you can, and then you can keep going with it. So I am going to, I have somebody who's raised their hand. So Brianne, if you want to ask your question, please go ahead.
Brianne, you're muted if you're talking.
All right. Well, if you do unmute and want to ask your question, that's fine.
Oh, she just chatted in. She didn't need to press that.
Okay. Okay. All good. The recording will be sent out this afternoon for sure. So I think I've got all the questions answered. And we'll also share some of the things for our poll. And yeah, all good. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. And I hope that you can see that MessageBee is a very powerful tool that will make it very easy for you to send a lot of great communications, share with your community all the things that your library has to offer. So we'll be following up. You'll have the ability to take advantage of our free trial offer, and we can have dialogue about all the other things that MessageBee can do. So thank you again. Have a great rest of your day. And thanks, Melissa. I really appreciate your time today.
You're welcome.